I want people to stop being afraid of e-commerce. That's like the main thing.
I love that. Why do you think people are afraid of e-commerce? Or some people are still afraid to dive into the online selling industry?
That's a good question, but I think because they're thinking that they should do everything. If I go and I say I want to start doing e-commerce and I'm in charge of the inventory and buying inventory and then putting it, uploading it to the marketplace or uploading it to my own store, running campaigns and then packaging it and then sending it to the client and then doing customer support and then, oh my God, I just got scared and tired of saying all of the list of things. This is unbearable and one person cannot do all of that or it's not right to do it in one company. What you should do, and this is my biggest recommendation, is use experts.
Yeah.
Basically outsource whatever you can outsource that makes sense to you.
It's true.
Focus on what you think you're good at and you become even better at that because you have time to focus on that and be a professional there.
Right.
Welcome to the Payo E-Commerce Academy podcast, where we help you with your e-commerce journey. Here are your hosts, Tristan and Jen.
Hi everyone. Welcome to Payo E-Commerce Academy. My name is Tristan.
And I'm Jen. And
we are your hosts for today. This is the first episode
Yeah, I'm so
of the Payo
excited.
E-Commerce Academy. And this is the first time we're doing this. So as you said, it's very exciting.
Yes.
And we'll be inviting interesting guests in this
Very interesting guest.
in this podcast,
Yes.
right? And this episode is actually an introduction to our podcast as well as a discussion on who Payo is. That's interesting.
Yeah,
right?
and we definitely delve into how Payo started and how the company has evolved in the present times and what memorable milestones Payo surpassed since its inception.
Yes, and this particular episode we have Payo CEO Liron Gross, which will be our very first guest on our podcast. All
Hey
right.
everybody.
Hi Liron, how are you?
Good to be here. I'm well.
Hi, Liron.
I'm doing well.
That's good. That's good. And it's so nice that we're having this first episode with you, right? Instead of doing inviting other people, right? I mean, who knows Payo best than its CEO and its founder, right? So. Yeah, we do have a couple of questions here for you, but we wanna, kind of like get things warm a little bit. You do live here in the Philippines, right? Or do you go here from time to time? Can you tell us a little bit more on how you do things?
Okay, so I used to live here in the Philippines. I flew back home to Israel probably 2 years ago, and now I'm kind of like spending my time both in the Philippines and in Israel. I fly here often.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy the Philippines so much, and I'm really happy that I'm so lucky to have my business here in the Philippines.
That's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice. And particularly Payo, right? Yeah. So let me go over my first question with you, Leron. What inspired you to establish Payo?
That's a good question, and takes me back in time to where I started. So, about 8 years ago, or even more than that, I had a line of jewelry with a religious aspect to it, and I was selling around the world. I was selling on e-commerce, also on home shopping channels, and my biggest market back then was the Philippines, of course, because the Philippines are is a very interesting market for Catholic religious goods, obviously, coming from the Holy Land, Israel, my home, my home base, and I was selling. And I got to know e-commerce. Didn't have much experience with e-commerce back then. I had a partner who was very much familiar with e-commerce. We started to work. We worked here in the Philippines. And we were selling very well. We were growing very well. And it was beautiful. And until we looked at the P&L. P&L is basically our profit and loss. And we saw that we are selling and selling and selling, but losing money. We started to dive into the numbers and we started to understand that the reason we are losing money is not because people didn't like our products or because we didn't get enough buyers. It was because of the whole selling process in the Philippines that it's so different in other countries. The main difference, the biggest difference is cash on delivery. This is something that is not common in other countries.
All right.
and
That's way back when? Sorry.
like 8 or 9 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And cash on delivery caused a very high cancellation rate. So many people canceled their order because they forgot the order, because they spend their money elsewhere. Many different good reasons after all, but we were paying for the delivery fee, we were paying for the inventory, and we didn't get paid for the product. So we were losing money.
Yeah. And you started the business with COD already.
Yes, we started the business with COD already, which is either a brave decision or a stupid decision. I don't know. I don't know.
There is an...
Yeah, but we felt this is the right thing to do, and I feel that in the Philippines, selling without the COD option really narrow your market. COD, cash on delivery, of course. So anyway, we were trying to understand why we were losing money, and we started to investigate the whole process of delivery and logistics in the Philippines, and we understood that there are a few big problems, and we started to solve those problems internally. I'll dive into the problems later, but we started to solve those problems internally. And when we did, we managed to lower our cancellation rate from over 20% to less than 4%. Yeah, to less than 4%. And it felt the right thing to do. So at that moment, I kind of pivot the e-commerce company into Payo, into what it is today, a logistic company, an e-commerce enabler, thinking that the process that we have made inside our previous business is right for any other online business, and even other businesses that just sell and use logistics. Doesn't even have to be online businesses. Yeah. And that's when Payo come to life about, I would say, 4 or 5 years ago, and that's how we started.
That's what happened.
That is empowering.
Yeah. I didn't know the full story just now.
Yeah. I agree. So, Liron, tell us what's the rationale behind the company's name.
Oh, okay. So the company name Payo is an advice. And that's how I feel that I want to think of myself in the relationship with our merchants, with our clients. I want to make sure that I'm able to give them the advice, the right advice on how to sell online.
All right.
That's the vision. I'm hoping that's what we do. That's kind of what we wake up in the morning to do. Find the right way to do it in a way that will be safer for our clients, that will be better, faster, and cheaper. And that's the goal. I hope we're being successful in that.
Yeah, and actually, Payo is in Tagalog advice, right?
Yes.
So it's really nice to have that name as well.
And we only had that kind of name for Payo as Payo, right? But before it was Payo,
yeah.
right? Can I dive into that? Why did we start with that first before it became Payo?
Yeah.
So since day one, we liked the Payo relationship. I mean, when we chose the name of the company, of course we knew that Payo means advice in Tagalog, and that's why we chose it. But the word Payo came from the payment, because in the beginning, when we first started, we focused on the COD, on the cash-on-delivery solution. But from there, in the last 5 years, we moved to giving so many other solutions. I'll give an example. Another huge challenge beside the cash on delivery is the long time it takes to deliver. If somebody is buying from a faraway province area, it can take up to 6, 7, 8, 9 delivery days. When people buy online, they want it tomorrow. They want it the day after tomorrow.
Right. I'm not going to deny that.
I understand that. Nobody wants to wait 8, 9, 10 days. You know what? You get to a point where you forgot your order. You get a delivery and what was that? So one of the things that we have done in Payo is to try to solve the long SLA, the long time it takes to deliver. Now, I can't have trucks drive faster, or I don't know, I can't have bikes driving faster. So it wasn't the solution there. The solution was with creating multiple warehouses around the Philippines, where we put the stock much closer to the buyer. So now when somebody is ordering from Visayas, he will get it from our warehouse in Cebu. He will not get the order from our warehouse in Makati, and he saves so much time, and he will get it to their doorstep much, much faster.
Which makes sense.
Yes,
right?
thank you, I hope.
It's a solution for
Yes,
us.
definitely. For almost everyone, because we want our parcels ASAP, right?
I know,
Exactly.
right? And speaking of services, COD is a service, right? And I want to talk about like Payo's core services and how that changed over time. Can you talk about that?
Sure. So as I mentioned before, like Payo core service was like basically help with cash on delivery. But we understood that e-commerce has many different challenges. It has so many different advantages. And sometimes we just talk about the challenges, but the advantages are also amazing. And we try to kind of like take care of the challenges. So I mentioned the service level. I'm mentioning the time it takes to deliver. I have mentioned also the cash on delivery. Still, cash on delivery is the preferred payment method, preferred. And I understand why. It's not because, you don't have a credit card or you do have a credit card. It's just because it feels safer for the buyer.
For the buyer.
Totally
Yeah.
agree with
Until I see the parcel in my doorstep, I don't want to pay the money. I want to make sure that it arrived. I want to make sure it's okay, and then I will pay. So I totally understand it. It's a matter of trust, I would say. So that's another like pain or a challenge that we are solving in Payo, because what we are doing there to solve that is that we make sure our online sellers, who are our clients, make sure they will get the money for the cash on delivery order and don't have to wait anymore until the money is collected from the buyer, until the money is transferred to the branch and to the bank account and all of that, and they're losing days. So we make sure there is a really quick remittance for the online seller, for the merchant. And why it is so important? Because of the cash flow of the merchants. I care about the business and the growth and the scaling of our online sellers. And in order for them to scale and grow, they need money in their bank. They need money to buy more inventory. They need money to buy more marketing ads, Facebook ads and so on. And we try to assist them by actually making sure that they will get the money on time and they will not have to wait for remittance and worry about that. So that is another thing that we took care of, again, from being in the chair of the online sellers. I was an online seller. I remember the pains. So I'm trying to solve the pain points. Exactly.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
And from that point of view, it seems like Payo isn't just someone or a service that you avail only for the services, but it seems like you want to help these merchants scale up
with
their
a purpose,
business.
right?
With a
A business
purpose,
with a
right?
purpose.
Specifically with the
Completely.
cash flow. Specifically with the cash flow and all that. So it's nice that
Completely.
we have this kind of organization. right?
Yes.
And how would you say the services changed over time?
So I think it's much more customized. Again, one of the things that we have learned in Payo is to listen to our merchants. What we usually see out there is that somebody is coming to a logistic company or an e-commerce enabler, and they're basically kind of like getting explanation how they should work. So we try to do it a bit differently. We, as Payo, are, as I said, advisors of our clients. We look at them as our partners. We listen to what they need, and we are not afraid of customizing their needs. I can give you examples. We have customers who are owners of line of discrete product for women. And one of the biggest issues there is that women don't want the product to be recognized, so we need to pack it in a way that is more discreet and like you don't recognize the shape of the product or you can't see through what's going on inside of it. So we do a different process of packaging in that case. Another example would be a client of ours who need to print a specific instruction and ship it with each product they send. So we actually bought a special printer exactly for them, and we're doing this as part of the process. We listen to the clients, we listen to their needs, and we're solving it on a client base. We're very much customized. It's part of our DNA.
Nice. It's tailor fitting the
Exactly.
everything to the merchant and
Based on their
meeting their way.
requirements.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And another thing I wanted to ask before we jump to the other question, right? Going back to COD, how long do you think COD will remain with us in the next few years? Do you think it's gonna be something that's still essential and as an option for your
need, yes.
customers?
I hear that question often. It's hard for me to say. Like when I was starting 6 or 7 years ago, everybody told me, don't get used to COD. It will go away. Cash on delivery will go away at one point or another. It doesn't. I don't see how it does. I agree that the penetration rate of Gcash and the penetration rate of credit card and other payment method, Maya cards, and so on, is increasing in the Philippines. And if you look at the numbers, there is much more adoption of e-wallet than in any other country. And yet, e-commerce and cash on delivery, it's
Still big.
yeah, exactly. So I think something will change once the mindset of an online buyer, of sellers, will change, but not so fast.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Daron, speaking of merchants, we're just curious, right? Who was the first client you ever had? Yeah, can you tell us about them?
Yeah, of course. One of my first clients and one of my favorite clients, speaking of customize, was a client of name necklaces. If you remember Sex and the City, Carrie Bradshaw, she used to have a Carrie necklace. She made history. And after that, this became a very big hit. And one of my clients had a line of name necklaces. And the reason I'm saying it's very customized is because it's per client. So somebody's paid to order. Yeah, somebody's ordering with their name. It takes 5 days to prepare this. I don't remember exactly, 5 days, and then it's packed and shipped. And of course, it's making the whole issue of canceled order much more sensitive, because then you're stuck with a necklace and, with a Jennifer on it. And you need now to sell it to a different Jennifer. Yes. So it's a bit complicated. That's why we had kind of like a different process there when we used to call the client and kind of confirm the order. And the packaging was beautiful. And the unboxing of clients were beautiful because they were really excited about it and waiting for it. So I remember that customer with great fund, and they were the one to open my mind and to open Payo mind about customizing things and listening to the client and their need and making the process more adjustable to what the merchant, the client, is selling.
So that's where it originated.
Yeah.
I will dive deeper into the story. Is it someone that reached out to you, or you reached out to them?
Reached out to us. They wanted. They looked at the Philippines as a potential great market, and they reached out to us. Yeah.
Nice.
It was very long time ago. Probably one of my first clients.
Nice. And speaking of clients and successes, right? I wanna dive into Payo's milestone with regards to Payo's growth, right? What's Payo's biggest milestone so far?
Payo biggest milestone so far was the multiple warehouses. Opening many warehouses, not many, but open strategic warehouses around the Philippines. Truly was successful strategic in order to decrease the time it takes to deliver. And that's a huge thing, a very huge thing for us. That's probably one of our biggest goals.
Nice.
And that's a milestone I'm very proud of. Yeah.
Nice. And given the fact that we all know that the Philippines is an archipelago, right?
Yes.
Logistics is really one of the main pain points of merchants, logistics everywhere.
It takes time.
So it's really nice that you were able to kind of establish those warehouses all over the country. Not really all over, but as you mentioned, strategically place them into those major regions, right? Each in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, and specifically in National Capital Region. So congratulations. I love that.
Thank you.
So I want to ask, since the year started, 2023, right?
Yeah.
What changes have you experienced in the first half of the year?
That's a very interesting question. I want to answer it on a Payo level, but also on an e-commerce macro level. On an e-commerce macro level, let's be very honest. COVID was probably the worst thing that happened to the world, but the best thing that happened to e-commerce. The e-com industry boomed during COVID. And when it ended, it still boomed for a while, and then something happened. It went a bit down. It kind of went back to being more stable, I would say, because, malls are opening again, and the retail world is opening again, and people still want to go to a mall to shop because it's part of the experience of humans. You go, you shop, you eat your ramen, you touch the clothes, you have ice cream, you meet friends. It's an experience. While online shopping, it's usually more an economical experience. It should be and supposedly cheaper and more accurate and so on.
Convenient.
Convenient, yeah. So I think that's the biggest trend that you've seen around. E-commerce have decreased a bit in 2023. That's part of what is happening out there. But on the other hand, we see much more interesting, innovating solutions to kind of close the gap between the retail and e-commerce industry. And the main, I would say, the main help is coming from technology. And I want to talk a bit about that. In PAIO, we really believe in having a strong technology base. I mean, logistics sound like the first thing. You think about logistics, the first thing you think of is really old school kind of a type of industry, exactly, with warehouses and racks and all of that. But there is so much that technology can do behind the scene to make it much more innovative, much more smooth, and to allow a better, seamless experience, to make sure that the shopping online will be much better than shopping in a retail store. Not just the price, but also the experience, the time it takes to deliver, how it's being handled during the way, how you get SMSs, you always know where your order is at. Those things are the big trends of 2023. And that's what you see, and that's what is PAIO adapting all the time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you think, it's a very
that.
curious question. I have a very curious question. Do you think that one day e-commerce will dominate the physical stores?
Wow.
Or
That's a
the
good-
physical stores will become obsolete? Is that something that would possibly happen?
That's such an interesting question, because on the one hand, you do see a lot of big brands dropping off retail stores, like because of the cost of rent and all of that.
Exactly.
But then again, I would say that the surrounding of a mall has so much more social around it than just shopping that I don't know how it will go away. What you see that is interesting in the last couple of months is, for example, you go to big stores. I saw it just now in BGC, I don't remember in which store. You go to the big store, and in the middle of the store, you have a computer. And people can try the shoes in the store and then buy it online. Yeah. So and even the salesperson is assisting them in buying it online, because the online price is a bit better. But then again, when it comes to shoes, you really want to try it. You know, you want to see the fit. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there's going to be a lot of changes with e-commerce and physical stores in the next few months or years. It
sure.
may become hybrid for
sure.
Yeah.
Because we keep on upgrading our services.
And there's going to be a lot
Yeah.
of problems, and we need solutions for
Yes.
that. And
We're already working on some. We have in the oven cooking up some really
Nice.
interesting
For that.
solutions. Really interesting solutions. Some of them I can share, some of them I can't still. But it's all about empowering the experience of the online buyer and closing the gap between retail and e-commerce.
Yeah. Surprise us,
Great.
please.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Leron, also, why was it important for the company to create a podcast this year?
Okay. Okay.
Why we're doing this, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to try and help as much as possible and give as much as possible information about e-commerce and their challenges around e-commerce and the solution. Again, I think one of the big things that happen is people always talk about the problem and how it is hard. It is hard, but it's also an amazing opportunity. This is why I chose this as my life goal, my career, and my expertise, because e-commerce can, first of all, e-commerce can encourage growth. It can encourage independency and allow people to work from any place, anywhere, and any time. And you can have your own small e-commerce business, and you can have a big scale of e-commerce as a big brand that wants to do online selling as well. And it also makes the world much smaller, especially the Philippines.
Yeah.
People who live in different provinces who are far from the big mall and all of that. It gives them the opportunity to enjoy the same thing that you will enjoy if you live in the main cities. make it much more equal in many ways.
Nice.
The world is much smaller like this.
Nice. And piggybacking on Jen's question, right? Since we're doing the podcast, mainly I think it's because we want to inform people, educate, but what do you really want to achieve here?
I want people to stop being afraid of e-commerce. That's like the main thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. Well, why do you think people are afraid of e-commerce? Or some people are still afraid to dive into the online selling industry?
That's a good question, but and I think because they're thinking that they should do everything. If I go and I say I want to start doing e-commerce and I will be in charge of the inventory and buying inventory and then putting it, uploading it to the marketplace or uploading it to my own store and running campaigns and then packaging it and then sending it to the client and then doing customer support and then, oh my God, I just got scared and tired of saying of the list of things. This is unbearable and one person cannot do all of that or it's not right to do it in one company. What you should do, and this is my biggest recommendation, is use experts.
Yeah.
Basically outsource whatever you can outsource that makes sense to you.
It's true.
And focus on what you think you're good at.
Right.
And you become even better at that because you have time to focus on that and be a professional there.
Right.
And that's kind of like the main, I would say the main advice, the main payo.
Yeah. And
And
Payo
they
is the experts on these kinds of things. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
And I also wanted to ask just one more question.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Actually, don't have any questions. I wanted to say something, but
I just want to hold the mic. I just want to hold it.
I wanted to say something when Liron said fear, right? I remembered one quote from the movie Dune: "Fear is the mind killer." I also remember that. So move out of your fear, dive into the online selling. I mean, it will be costly for some people, right? But if you
Yes.
have the right mindset,
And the right partners.
right.
As well.
Exactly.
you'll be able to pass through that. Okay?
Exactly.
Well, since we have a lot of platforms here in the Philippines to sell online, right? You have social media, Facebook and Instagram. And we also have marketplaces such as Shopee and Lazada.
TikTok as well.
TikTok,
Yeah.
right? And there are a lot more. And they're platforms, marketplaces. You open a store and you sell there. Right? What are your thoughts on like having control over your own store away from the marketplaces and kind of like making your store inside Shopee and Lazada?
Okay, so I would say do it. First of all, my quick answer is do it all, and I'll explain. First of all, we talked about trends before. Let's talk about trend one more on that angle as well. Probably the biggest trend, the most growing trend in the Philippines is selling through TikTok. It's been very successful. TikTok is the new Facebook.
Yeah.
Like if a few years ago everybody were on Facebook and you had to sell on Facebook and you do Facebook ads and so on, now TikTok is the right place. It makes much more sense, and this is probably a big advice I have for marketing people or people who are looking how to run campaigns. Use TikTok. Probably the best way, okay?
Maximize TikTok.
Maximize TikTok
Yes.
completely. Other than that, the marketplace are very strong in the Philippines. Selling only in your own store and not in the marketplace, when you have the right product for a marketplace, I believe it's a mistake. But then again, selling only in the marketplace, you also kind of lose creating a strong base, a strong relationship with your clients. The best type of clients are repeating clients.
Yeah.
And using your own store, you can create repeating clients. And on the marketplace, it's harder. So I say do it all. Do TikTok, do the more conventional marketplace such as Lazada and Shopee, and of course, do your own website. And again, this is why you need partners. By the way, at Payo, and I'm sure other solution out there, we kind of like give a solution for all of those places. So for you, it's not more of a headache. It will be more of a headache in terms of like managing the marketing in those three places. But even that you have solutions for. But logistic, it will be seamless for you if the order was shipped through Lazada or shipped through the website or through TikTok. So you don't have to worry about the extra work or about like dividing yourself in different platforms.
Yeah, because
But, yeah.
there are solutions provider available, right?
Yes,
iOS.
yeah, I can tell you that that there are many out there, and I can tell you that in Pio, of course, we provide services for the marketplace as well, and not just fulfillment service, but also managing store, managing the SKUs, doing some marketing for the marketplace, whether it's Lazada, Shopee, or TikTok. But not just us. Again, it's not just about Pio. This podcast is about online sellers, and that's the most important thing that we need to focus on. So there are quite a lot of different ways to do it. Again, find in the chain of things that need to be done, find what you're strong at, focus on that, and the rest outsource to the right partner.
Wow. Yeah, Leron, what's next for Pio?
So
Yeah.
For 223, whatever left of 223, we're continuing our focus on automating the systems and automating the process, and we're trying to bring a few innovative new products and new solutions. One of them is close to my heart, and it's electronic bikes. I think, everybody needs to do a bit, whatever they can, to make the world a bit greener. And that's kind of like my way and Pio way to assist, especially in a place like Makati and Cebu, in places that are very crowded, so it's easy to use automatic bikes, electronic bikes. And we are rolling out now a pilot, so I'm excited about it on a personal level. Been waiting for it for a long time. And that's probably one of the more solutions that I'm more close to my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't just provide, revenues and solutions, but
Exactly.
it also helps our Mother Earth.
Just a bit.
Just a bit,
Yeah, whatever we can.
Right, that's good. That's good. As someone that's an eco warrior, so I really, really appreciate that, and I hope some of these organizations also follow Pio's footsteps on, trying to help the environment, even the smallest way possible.
I hope so as well.
Another thing I wanted to know, right? Since we're talking about the next steps, Pio operates in the Philippines, right? Are there any plans to expand internationally?
I think the Philippines is an amazing market. I love the Philippines, and it's big enough. I want to be the expert of the Philippines. I don't see myself, and I don't see the company go to other markets so soon. Not in the next year, maybe in the future. I was taught to never say never.
Yes.
So maybe in the future, but for this year, for the next 12 months, for sure, we're focusing on the Philippines, trying to make it more accessible, faster deliveries, cheaper delivery, and more interesting things to come to the local market.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, from other countries, they go here to sell.
Yeah, exactly.
We have the market here. So
Yes.
yeah, I guess that's it. Leron, it's been nice having you here.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm happy that you're the first guest here at our podcast. And
Thank you, and good luck with the podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank
so
you
that
so
would be
much.
all. Thank you, everyone. My name is Tristan.
And I'm Jen.
And see you on the next episode of Pio E-Commerce Academy.
Bye.
Bye.